Welcome to the Stoic Quotient, where we don't just talk about healing, we walk into the fire with you, where we name the things you've been too afraid to say out loud, where we pull the threads of confusion until truth begins to show. Because you weren't born to chase chaos. You were born for clarity, for freedom, for peace that doesn't make you bleed to feel real. This is the place where emotional patterns are broken, and your mind comes home to itself again. Let's look into how your brain bonds to emotional chaos. Why do you stay? Why you chased? Why you kept coming back, even when it hurt? It wasn't weakness. It wasn't stupidity. It was biology. When someone loves you inconsistently, pulls you in, then pushes you away, it creates more than just confusion. It creates a storm inside your nervous system. 1 minute, you're everything. The next, you're nothing. You're clinging to the warmth of their presence while bracing for the cold of their withdrawal. And in that emotional whiplash, something dangerous happens. Your body begins to confuse the rush of anxiety with the thrill of passion. That tension becomes your new normal. It's not just psychological, it's physiological. Your heart races, your stomach churns, and your mind spirals, all while telling yourself, this must be love. But it isn't love. It's emotional vertigo. And the longer you stay, the harder it is to remember what stillness feels like. That tension becomes addictive. Because every time you're neglected, criticized, or ghosted, your body floods with cortisol and adrenaline, stress hormones that keep you in survival mode. Then, right when you're about to let go, they return. With a text, an apology, a breadcrumb of affection. And at that moment, dopamine floods your system. It feels like relief, like hope, like love. But it's not love. It's a chemical cocktail of confusion. Your brain isn't wired for chaos. It's wired for pattern recognition. So, when pain and reward are delivered in cycles, your nervous system adapts. It stops asking, is this healthy? And starts asking, when is the next high? This is called intermittent reinforcement, the same mechanism that keeps gamblers glued to slot machines, and now it's playing out in your relationships. This is why you miss them after they hurt you. Not because they were safe, nurturing, or consistent, but because their sudden return offered your nervous system a false sense of relief. The dopamine didn't flood your brain because of their love. It surged because of the temporary end to your emotional starvation. They were the storm and the umbrella, the wound and the bandage, and even though the pain they caused ran deep, the brief moments of tenderness felt like rescue, like air after drowning. That's what you were clinging to them. But the momentary high that made you forget you were sinking. And this is the trick. Your body learns to crave the spike, not the person. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." You can't control how they behave, but you can learn to recognize the chemical trap for what it is. You don't need another hit of chaos to feel alive. You don't need to mistake anxiety for passion. You need peace that doesn't spike, love that doesn't abandon, and self-worth that doesn't depend on someone else's validation schedule. This is the moment you stop chasing emotional crumbs and start feeding your soul something stable. If you've been trapped in that cycle, if you've mistaken adrenaline for affection, then you know the ache of waiting for someone who wounds you to be the one who heals you. You know the torture of calling chaos love and convincing yourself that pain was just part of the passion. You've confused panic with intensity, silence with mystery, neglect with strength. Your heart wasn't broken. It was conditioned. You weren't weak. You were chemically tethered to the spike of relief that followed every moment of despair. But here's what you need to know. That wasn't affection. It was survival. And now that you're waking up to the pattern, you're not losing them. You're reclaiming yourself. Know this, you're not crazy. You're chemically conditioned. But now, you're becoming conscious. And with that consciousness comes power, not the loud, boastful kind that dominates a room, but the quiet, unshakable strength that says, I see the pattern now, and I refuse to be ruled by it any longer. It's the power to sit with your discomfort instead of running back to chaos. The power to walk away without closure, to break your own cycle, to choose stillness over sparks. It's the moment you stop romanticizing the roller coaster and start choosing solid ground. You stop asking why they couldn't love you right and start giving that love to yourself. That's not just power, that's rebirth. Is balance in all these chemicals important to growth, success, happiness, and wealth? Absolutely. Because when your nervous system is constantly hijacked by the highs and crashes of emotional chaos, there is no room for sustainable peace, only the illusion of intensity. The truth is, a calm heart and a regulated brain are the real foundations of a fulfilling life. You don't attract healthy love or sustainable wealth from adrenaline. You attract them from a heart that no longer needs chaos to feel alive. When you create inner safety, you emit a frequency that welcomes abundance. Not because you're chasing it, but because you're aligned with it. Peace, clarity, joy. These aren't luxuries. They are the new normal your body must relearn. And when it does, success stops feeling like a chase and starts feeling like a homecoming. The power to say, I don't want the high anymore. I want the truth. Not the thrill that fades, not the chaos disguised as chemistry, not the breadcrumbs tossed in moments of guilt or manipulation. I want the kind of love that doesn't spike and crash. I want peace that stays, even in silence. I want connection without conquest, closeness without fear. Because the high never filled me. It emptied me, and I'm done being drunk on adrenaline and starving for tenderness. I want the quiet truth, the solid truth, the kind that doesn't need to hurt to feel real. This is the Stoic Quotient, where we unlearn confusion and return to clarity, sovereignty, and peace. Thanks for being here with us. If this insight resonates, give us a like, share, and hit that notification bell for daily insights.